AM, let's hit the throttle. Oh my God, yeah, hands going up. Let's hit the dance floor again.
Wild like.
Hello, welcome to The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and today I'm going to review a thing. So one of the earliest videos on this channel is a video that includes me going over Cartoon Network's lineup of shows that they were airing at that time. It was made back in 2015, and obviously it's been 2 years since that video came out, so the lineup now for the cartoons is completely different. I talked about the main 6 cartoons that were airing at that time and gave my overall thoughts on them. The shows were Adventure Time, Regular Show, Gumball, Steven Universe, Uncle Grandpa, and Clarence. Teen Titans Go was also airing at that time too, but if you know me personally and through watching my videos, you'll know I have a fond hatred for Teen Titans Go, much as like everyone else in the internet world who likes cartoons. Again, the lineup is obviously very different because it's been 2 years since that video came out, and there's been a whole new batch of cartoons that have aired ever since that video was made. Not only that, but a lot has happened with these cartoons that I originally mentioned. Uncle Grandpa has been officially cancelled, Regular Show ended actually earlier this year, Adventure Time and Steven Universe have become one of those shows that are there on the network but don't get much airtime that they deserve. Clarence is slowly on the verge of getting cancelled. I remember seeing somewhere it's going to end on its 3rd season, which it currently is on, and The Amazing World of Gumball is also slowly on the verge of getting cancelled, I think. I remember seeing somewhere by its 6th season, it's over. In fact, I think they even canceled the movie because of this decision. But new episodes are still airing, the ratings are high like they usually are, and I think it's the only show on that list that has still gotten very strong since I made that video. Steven Universe and Adventure Time have also been very strong, but again, those 2 shows have weakened with its airtime and all that stuff, which isn't very fair because they're very good shows. Teen Titans Go, out of all of them, I just think it's very unfair that it's getting treated better than any of these other shows. I mean, we have an awful show running the network, basically. It plays, I don't know, 7 hours a day? It's like the SpongeBob of Cartoon Network now. What? So only 5 out of those 7 shows that I originally talked about are currently still running. And there have been a whole bunch of other cartoons that have aired that I have yet to even touch upon. So I figured this should be the video that I should at least give my opinions on the cartoons I haven't talked about yet. So this is the updated Cartoon Network show lineup review video, and just to make it perfectly clear, the following shows that I am listing down below on this screen are the shows I am not touching upon because they are absolutely awful, and I forbid to talk about them. I have seen these shows, but they're not worth talking about. In fact, they were shows that aired like the first week, and then they just were gone. They just left the network. I think they actually air on Boomerang now, which is the sister network of Cartoon Network. I also will not be talking about Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, because I've already touched upon that show. Let's get in with the other shows, shall we? We Bare Bears. I think out of all the shows I'm touching upon in this review, this is the show that I give most credit to, and is probably the one I put on the highest rating. If I had to rate all of these shows in this video, this one would definitely be number 1, because, I don't know, it's just really good. We Bare Bears is a story of 3 bears who are considered brothers. Yeah, I'm going to touch upon that in a minute. As they live in San Francisco, as their main goal is to try to fit in with the norm, society, and make friends with the human race. What's interesting about this show is that it focuses on 3 talking bears, and all the other characters are humans. I mean, there's another talking animal in this show. There's a character named Nom Nom who's a talking koala who's internet famous. I'm guessing he's the parody of the Sneezing Panda video. I think that's what they were trying to get at. He can be seen, I guess, as the antagonist of the show. He kind of goes after the bears at times, because he's rich and he can. But what I find interesting is that these are 3 talking bears that try to fit in with society, and everyone's just okay with this. It's kind of got the same vibe as regular shows, seeing that all the main characters were like animals or weird objects that could just walk and talk. This is kind of the same setup. Nobody seems to be affected by these talking bears. Nobody seems to find it amazing that these bears can talk. They're just seen as ordinary people. I kind of fail to see how these 3 are brothers, though. I mean, maybe it's just a bear instinct. Maybe all bears are brothers. I don't exactly know how that works. What's interesting about this show is the way that the episodes work. Majority of the episodes focus on the bears trying to adapt to society and make friends, or maybe they're just doing something in town and it leads to a wacky adventure. Or at times it'll take us back in time to where we could see the bears as little cubs and see them go on wacky adventures trying to do the same thing that they do in the show today. I think We Bare Bears, compared to other shows on Cartoon Network, is one of the better new ones. I know a lot of people say new Cartoon Network is really bad, but if they were actually to sit down and watch a few of the new Cartoon Network shows, they'd learn that they're not actually bad. We Bare Bears isn't one of those shows that has like an action-packed story plot. It doesn't have story arcs or anything. It's just one of those shows that you could sit down and watch and laugh for 11 minutes. There's a lot of funny jokes in the show, a lot of funny gags, a lot of running gags, and the characters are very likable. They're not characters that you'd find annoying. They're not characters that you wish were not on the show anymore. Every character seems to have its own unique personality and fits very well into the show's plot. Other characters on the show include Ranger Tabes, who's like a wilderness survivor type person. She travels a lot, searches for things. We have Nom Nom, like I already told you about. There's a little girl in the show named Chloe whose intelligence is through the roof and basically skipped every grade to make it into college. And then you have Charlie, who's a mysterious creature that hangs out with the bears and considers them his best friend, since he doesn't have any other friends. His true species has never been exposed on the show, but we kind of already know he's Bigfoot. I mean, if his first appearance didn't make it clear that he's Bigfoot, then you're just not understanding the show at all. I think We Bare Bears has a great future on its hand. I really don't see it ending at any point. I mean, maybe in the next 2 years or something it will end, because every show does need to find its end. Every show needs to find its end. There's nothing else I could really say about the show other than I really enjoy watching it, and I hope it stays on the air much longer and doesn't get played out like other shows have. Mighty Magisaurs. So, I'd like to say something about this show. Thing is, I don't know much about this show. I could have included it as one of those shows that I listed at the bottom, you know, like Scooby-Doo and the Wabbit and My Knight and Me. I could have added it there, but I didn't. Because there's actually something very interesting about this show I wanted to touch upon, but I don't think it was much of a success because I don't see it on TV anymore. The show that was originally a web series on CartoonNetwork.com focuses on two siblings named Vambry and Prohias. They're a team known as Warriors for Hire, who go on hilarious adventures and crazy quests around the world and collect magical swords known as Magiswords. And that's all I know about the show. That's all I know about it. I've seen episodes. I know what happens in episodes. Just don't know anything else about it. There's about 46 episodes to this show. They're still on their first season. It aired in 2015, and I don't know where this show is going. I don't know if it's still running and I'm just missing the episodes, if they're airing it at like 6 in the morning, because Cartoon Network does that sometimes. Why do you do that? Hey, you gonna interrupt your Teen Titans Go marathon? Guess what? You do that like 7 times a week! The only thing I could say about Mighty Magiswords is, I know around last year and actually earlier this year, they did an interesting thing where they actually connected with the viewers of Cartoon Network and did somewhat of a Magisword collecting thing. I don't know the whole name of it, but let's put it this way. So when it used to be known as New Thursdays instead of New Fridays on Cartoon Network, new episodes would play on Thursdays and they would be hosted by the Mighty Magisword characters. During the premieres of these new episodes, there would be a little thing that flashes on the bottom, and that would signal the viewers to use the Cartoon Network app to actually collect the Magisword. So throughout the premieres of these episodes, and even other episodes that would premiere during the day on weekends, little icons would pop up at the bottom of the shows, and it would signal the viewers that they can collect their own Magiswords. It's kind of like airing a bunch of episodes on TV, and then putting a little thing at the bottom saying, hey, you can collect a Pokemon, call this number and it's yours. It's something like that. And I found that very interesting because it got the viewers to interact with the show itself, which is something that is rarely done in television nowadays. I like the fact that they did that where they interacted with the audience. I found that very cool, and I look up to shows that do that, because that just shows they can interact with their audience. That's really all I have to say about the show. They don't play it enough. I think it's canceled. The Powerpuff Girls. Yay! Oh my god. So you remember the 2015 special they did? Right? It was 2015? Alright, well you remember the special that they did? The poorly animated one? The one that looks like absolute trash? Yeah. So after that viewing, I'm assuming that it got a lot of ratings, which triggered the people at Cartoon Network to say, hey, this was pretty good. Let's bring the show back because people like this. Yeah, Powerpuff Girls was a show that was very successful back then. A lot of people watched it. I even tuned in once in a while. I wasn't a fan, but I definitely watched it because it was old Cartoon Network and I liked watching Cartoon Network. Here's the thing though. I think the Powerpuff Girls ended very well. It didn't need to come back, but it did. And what do we got now? We got twerking. We got a weird unicorn. We got a dancing panda. I don't know what this is. This isn't the Powerpuff Girls. This is just a girl version of Teen Titans Go. Why don't you just put them together? Since they're basically identical. Oh wait, you've already done that. Yay! Now we know that they're in the same universe! Because we needed that! I could say this much about Powerpuff Girls, because obviously Cartoon Network found out it wasn't exactly the success that it was going to be, because they rarely play any new episodes anymore. And even when they air new episodes, they air them on Sundays without announcing them. I'll say this much about it. It was a good attempt to bring it back, but there was no need to bring it back. I'm just kind of surprised that they brought it back and didn't add any new characters to it. Oh wait, they did. About a few months ago, they had a special event where they introduced a fourth Powerpuff Girl. Because we needed that. She's not even a main character. She only made her appearance in that special and then just went off, just disappeared forever. So, supposedly, the professor wanted to make the perfect girl daughter. So, he tried multiple times. The Powerpuff Girls were the last couple that he made, but he made one before them. She's not the fourth Powerpuff Girl. You can consider her the first one, I guess. I failed to see where that whole special was going. I don't think it was needed. We did not ask for this. Yeah, so Powerpuff Girls, that's a no for me. I don't like it very much. And if you could tell, I stopped watching it. Because I don't know what goes on in the episodes anymore. I remember like the spider episode. That's the only one I seem to remember now. And the unicorn one. And the special. Those are the only ones I remember. Don't remember anything else. Ben 10! Yeah. Here's another reboot. Or a new revived show. So much similar to when I saw Teen Titans Go, I never got to see the original Teen Titans, so it was hard for me to compare Teen Titans with Teen Titans Go. However, completely off the topic of Ben 10, I have now been watching the original Teen Titans because they've been airing those episodes on Cartoon Network, and I have to say, I really enjoy watching them, but I already knew Teen Titans Go was awful before I even saw that. The same thing can be said with Ben 10. I wasn't a kid that grew up with Ben 10. I never really got into it. And I actually watched this Ben 10 by accident one day. It was just on my TV. And I was like, alright, we can give this a try. And it's not that bad, but the original was better. And I've seen the original Ben 10. Something that I've been seeing a lot. Everyone thinks that Ben 10 shows are just outplayed. Again, I wasn't exactly one to grow up with Ben 10. I'm only watching the original series now, but I know that's not the only Ben 10 series. There's this one, and then there's another one, and another one. I think this is the fourth Ben 10 series. So I guess people are just... I don't think they hate the fact that there's a new Ben 10. I just think maybe they're they're just sick of new Ben 10s. Like, why can't you just put the show to rest? It was good. There wasn't a need to bring it back for another series and then another series. I get that. So with this Ben 10, I mean, it was my first Ben 10. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm not going to say it was the worst. It's all right. I don't know what it is with bringing back shows and giving them like really cheap animation looking styles. Comparing this Ben 10 with the original, I don't know. Is there I don't know what it is with the art style. It's weird. It's just weird. Okay, KO. Let's be heroes. At the moment, OK KO is the current and most recent new Cartoon Network show that has aired. It aired about, I think, a month ago in September. And it's pretty adorable. I would say out of this whole list of these new Cartoon Network shows, because this is the last one, the whole list, I would say this comes in second place compared to everything else. The show hasn't been on very long. It's only been on for a few months, and I keep missing episodes, so I've seen only a few of them. I haven't watched all the episodes, and the thing with me is I'm watching them out of order, so I didn't watch the first episode when it was the first episode. I watched the first episode like after a bunch of other episodes, so I'm doing the same thing that I did when I first was introduced to Steven Universe. I didn't think I would like Steven Universe, but I ended up watching the first episode like after another episode, and I basically mixed around with the episodes in the beginning, but I eventually watched them all in order. I'm not a horrible person. OK KO focuses on a little boy named KO who dreams to be a hero, and he ends up working at a supermarket with two other heroes that have awesome powers, and they spend their days battling robots so they can take over the plaza. It's got an interesting plot. I like the fact that it's got returning villains rather than just villains that once in a while will pop up. You have those kind of shows that like have recurring villains, like the main villain, and he comes back every episode with something new. And then you have another show that has a villain and then a new villain and a new villain, and then you get the actual villain of the series, but then you get another villain, and then that villain will appear again, if you get my drift. Again, I haven't really seen every episode of OK KO, but what I have seen of the show, I think it's pretty adorable. It's pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's exactly funny, but it's got a few jokes in there, and I don't know. I think it could be a hit. Yeah, it could become the next Steven Universe, because that's the kind of vibe I'm getting at. I can definitely tell you this: I did not expect them to do a crossover with Captain Planet. Did anybody see that? Captain Planet was in like one episode. I didn't expect that. Like, I kind of forgot who Captain Planet was at first. And it was like, oh yeah, he's there. Oh yeah, he's from the 90s. So, yeah, it's cool to know that those two take place in the same universe. It's interesting. And that is all the other Cartoon Network shows that have aired that I've not talked about yet, but I have talked about them now, so now it's complete. I don't know if I'll do another one. So those are my thoughts on the new Cartoon Network shows that I have not talked about yet, but now I have. Now I want to hear what you guys think. What is your favorite Cartoon Network show? It could either be currently running, or it could have already aired and is a classic Cartoon Network show. Also, what is your least favorite Cartoon Network show? Do you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video? Tell me in the comments, and also leave me your suggestions to every movie, TV show, random thing you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching The Wild Review on The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing. Hey, thanks for watching the video! Hopefully you enjoyed all the stuff I was talking about today, and you were able to follow up on my little hissy fit that I had. Anyway, come back next week, because we're learning magic! Along with a bunch of cereal mascots. What?
Wild like